the 5 habits that bad founders never break, how to improve your click-through rates with emojis, where do the European startups find their success, talking about the viral Nike campaign, and cyber attacks can be just as damaging for small firms as well as household names.
Hi and welcome to the Passport Success podcast, where we'll be talking about the latest in business news. I'm Simon.
And I'm Becca, and we're from Passport to Success, the online community and resource that gives you access to a world of business know-how. What have we got first to talk about today then?
So the first article we have is from entrepreneur.com, and it's about the 5 habits bad founders never break.
Okay.
So it's just to obviously try and get people to avoid these habits that a lot of founders can actually find themselves having and quite difficult to get out. So the first one we have is that they don't get along with co-founders. So there's a lot of disagreement can be constructive, but when it starts to turn toxic, that's when it's never good for the business. Never works well, never ends up well. Number 2 is that they can never pull the trigger, so they're always waiting to do the launch, and they never actually get to do the launch. And instead of doing it, they just need to pull the trigger so they can actually launch the product and see where it falls and where it works.
Yeah.
Number 3 is they don't respect their employees. So I don't know if you've seen recently, Amazon and Uber been having really, really bad PR recently in regards to what their employees are
I've seen that with Uber, yeah.
So you just need to make sure that you actually do treat your employees with respect. You know, they are human beings. And
you may be a small business and only have 2 employees, but still.
Or
exactly. You might have hundreds of employees. A little respect goes a long way, doesn't it?
It does, definitely. And number 4 is forget the details. So don't do everything by yourself.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you have people in place for areas that you're not exactly the best at.
Yeah, we've discussed this before, haven't we, in previous podcasts about, the importance of collaboration and delegating and not thinking that you are the expert at everything, because you won't be, in the nicest possible way we mean. You start a business because you have a great set of skills, but then when you start your business you need to become pretty good at all these other skills like accounting and health and safety.
And number 5 is that they lack organisational skills. So obviously, as a business owner, you have to have some organisation in your life. If you don't, then nothing's going to get done. Things are going to get backtracked. You're never going to reach your goals. You have to make sure that you've got a certain mindset that makes sure that you are efficient with the work you do, and make sure that everything is organised and set straight so you can actually achieve what you want for your business in a time frame and watch your business grow. So what have you got for us now, Becca?
The next one we're going to look at is how to improve your click-through rates with emojis. Oh, we do love emojis. They are the hieroglyphics of this generation, aren't they? Yeah. Well, they are. When you think about the Egyptians, they used pictures to describe things, and it's kind of come back around, like cat doing Home Alone face and smiley face with hearts for eyes. Sometimes emojis are really good at expressing that which cannot be expressed.
Yeah.
This article is from QuickSprout, and as much as you love them or hate them, you need to start embracing emojis. They are here for a while. The new generations are using them. You need to be down with the kids. Top industries are using emojis right now. It's mainly music and audio and food and beverages. So you need to get ahead of the curve in your industry. The recent study reported that some businesses enjoyed a 93% increase. That's a 93% increase in click-through rate after adding emojis to their email content. Now, sometimes they don't always come through on certain emails, do they?
No.
But they will still come through in some form, in like a black and white form, rather than the more colourful, cartoony form that you can see on phones as well. So even if you've got Apple or Android or emails, they've all got the same core meanings. So there's consistency between them. Everyone knows what the smiley face looks like, or what the 2 big eyes looking are, or when you've got a thumbs up. So as long as you make sure that you know what they mean, because some of them have dirty connotations, don't they? You need to do your research. Make sure you don't have inappropriate emojis. You might not think they are, but the eggplant is an eggplant, but there are other connotations around it. So do a little bit of research and start dropping emojis into your emails, into your social media posts, into any interactions that you do. Subject lines are pretty good to pop them in. Test it out, send yourself test emails to see how it comes through, and use them in your meta titles or descriptions. Twitter loves them, so make sure you use it in your tweets as well. And not necessarily when you talk. Sometimes it's a bit weird if you sometimes got a smiley face when you're chatting to someone. But definitely incorporate them more into your online and social media. And what's next?
So next is, again, another article from entrepreneur.com, and it's about how European startups are trying to mimic Silicon Valley businesses, when really they do need to stop doing that, and because they find more success when they just stop mimicking. And it's hard because a lot of people like to follow a particular blueprint based to the Silicon Valley. They've got their success. A lot of people think we have to do this to make sure that we get our own success.
Yeah.
But they actually find more growth and acquisition when they actually avoid that particular blueprint. If they avoid that blueprint, then they will obviously see so much more growth in the company. And there's a particular sort of formula that's being produced that makes European businesses successful or helps them towards their success.
Yeah.
So I'll just give a couple of tips that I've got here. So the first one is to build products based on your understanding of the unique need in your local market, which sounds relatively obvious. You have to produce a product that people understand.
Yes, and stick to your local market, especially at first. Small businesses do really well when they focus on their local immediate environment, and then you can grow and then start becoming more spread out, more nationwide, even international.
So European startups actually find more with less.
Okay.
So less funding, fewer mentors, fewer partnerships. They actually find more ways to succeed with fewer resources they actually have. So it's good to actually stick with very little and see how far you can actually push your business forward before actually looking outwards to any of these other options.
It's not always about the amount of money or the amount of people in your company.
So the third one and final tip is to only use the Silicon Valley blueprint if it's the right market for your company. So you don't want to try and meld your business into a Silicon Valley blueprint if it's just not going to be for your audience. It's
the whole thing about putting the shape into the right hole. It's like if your business doesn't fit that shape, don't force it. It's quite clearly then not the right route for you. So we're going to talk about the Nike advert. I'm sure most of you have seen it, and it's gone viral, hasn't it? The Colin Kaepernick ad from Nike. So it has the American football player Colin Kaepernick, and it's controversial, and it reads, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." He famously kneeled during the American national anthem before a football game he was playing in, which sprouted widespread debate over whether he should be allowed to do it, why he was doing it. It's because he believed in something, and he did it. And it kind of means he sacrificed a lot, because he ended up getting banned from the NFL for doing it. It was in support of the Black Lives Matter movement, and the advert has now gone viral. It's been turned into memes. I think one of my favourite ones is the Chewbacca one. It just goes, rah, believe in something. And I'm sure most of you have seen it. And it's perfect for Nike because it's got their name out to the masses. There are some people who are protesting against Nike now because they don't believe in it. So, there's videos of people like burning their Nike stuff, isn't there? But then you get a lot of people out in support of it as well, and that's the thing when it goes viral. Everybody hears about it. And this can be... It was a risk. It could have backfired. And that's the thing that we think you should take away from this is sometimes taking a risk will pay off. It's tough because usually I think we think you should avoid certain trigger points. Politics is one of them. Parenting can be quite a minefield. Religion, you don't want to alienate your customers, or you don't want them to fall out with you over something which is your belief or something like this. Try and keep things professional. However, taking the risk can sometimes work like this. I mean, this is a touchy subject, and as you can clearly see, if you go onto the internet, there are divides over this. So yes, it's definitely worth thinking about the risk. Just weigh up the options. Could be worth it, might not be worth it. Especially for a smaller business. Nike have a lot of money. They can throw money at this, and they've got a lot of customers. So even if they're not fussed if they lose some, because they've got a lot. When you have smaller amounts of customers, you just need to be wary of your supports, your advertising, your statements. Just weigh up all the options.
So our final article of today is from The Independent, and it's about how cyber attacks can be damaging to small firms, not just all the household names. So as over the past couple of years, cyber attacks have started becoming more and more common, especially among the bigger businesses.
Yeah, what's the most recent one? Was it British Airways?
I think maybe, yeah.
Was it TalkTalk as well? I've had problems.
Well, I've just got two here as well. So I've got Wetherspoons. Apparently, recently they'd come under attack and hackers had stole over 650,000 worth of customers' data.
Okay.
And then again, TalkTalk. They got hacked. Apparently, it's going to cost the company £35 million worth in damages, which is absolutely crazy. But obviously, because all of these are affecting the bigger businesses, it's definitely something that smaller businesses like yourselves listening to this should definitely look into and making sure that your security is perfect.
Yeah, just because you're a small business doesn't mean you should have small protection for online.
It's potentially worse, because I've just got a quick poll recently that was taken of 3,000 small businesses, and only 8% of them saw cybercrime as an issue. So the bigger companies will have more security measures in place.
They've got more money to throw at firewalls and protection and staffing as well.
Exactly. I mean, it's harder to get in, but more rewarding, whereas for smaller businesses, it's so much easier to get in for them because so many small businesses actually neglect the security. You really, really, really have to look into security for your business. The statistic taken by Cyber Streetwise, was that 33% of small business owners have actually suffered a cyber attack from outside of their own business. So, I mean, that's a third of businesses have already been impacted by hackers. So you have to try and keep up to date with all of the latest security measures that are in place, which can be difficult as a small business owner. You might not have the money to do so. This is where outsourcing again comes in, where you can look for IT security companies. There are plenty of them around where you'd be able to go to them and they'll have all of the most up-to-date security measures and everything that your company needs.
Anyone out there listening, if you've had some great experience with someone or you work with someone who's very good and helps you with your online security, then pop them in the forums, or if anyone has any questions about this, sling it in the forums and we will be able to help you try and find the best possible outcome for you and your online security.
It's just something that you can't ignore, because if you ignore it, then you're only going to get more and more in the dark of what's actually happening and what hackers have been able to do.
Technology moves so fast now as
well. Everything just moves so fast nowadays. So it's an area that you have to make sure that is in absolute
compliance.
Competition. You have to be updated.
And especially with GDPR now as well, you need to be so careful with protecting your customers' personal information and data.
So it's definitely worth having a look around either on our forums or through some websites. I'm sure some people, other small business owners, will have some recommendations, like Becca said.
So to round up where we got our articles from, the 5 Habits Bad Founders Never Break is from Entrepreneur, and How to Improve Your Click Rate Through Emojis is from QuickSprout. How the European startups are finding more success by not copying Silicon Valley is from Entrepreneur. And the cyber attacks can be damaging for small firms as well as household names. It was from The Independent. If you have any questions about anything we've chatted about today, go into the forums or contact us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. And thank you very much for listening.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.